What's happening, everybody? Today we have a special guest on the show. We're going to talk a lot about real estate investing, kind of just what it feels like to punt your fears, legacy for himself and for his family. I don't want to go too far into where we're at now. We're going to start in the past a little bit, work into the present, and then talk about this legacy into the future. Hit pause right now.
Just real
on this and go look up. Yeah, for sure. And it's been so, I mean, for me, like, it's important to learn, like, because I get super into something like full gas, and I learn it, like, that's amazing. And then something else will walk by, and I'm like, ooh, that, I want to learn that now. So that's been my kind of hustle since I was a kid, and I love it.
My clients keep asking, how's the market? They think it's slowing down. I'm not feeling it personally. What is your opinion?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I mean, it's taken a little bit of a tiny move, but there are certain zones that are pistol hot still. So that's the thing, is you have to really know your demographic, know your zip codes like the back of your hand, and you won't even feel it.
I like that.
And I cut my teeth in the worst real estate market in 50 years, and it doesn't matter if it's the worst market or the best market. If you're good, you're good. I'll send the thing for you. What's up, man? Even easier for you, because if you send...
I want to become an income property specialist.
You want to have 100 doors that's keeping you off 100 grand a month in passive.
Sick.
And you can create whatever you want.
That's
that
awesome.
Place. And I literally just show people how to do it.
Do you invest out of state?
Big time.
Really?
So I was just talking to Mikey about that, because I went into Cleveland hard 4 years ago, and he's like, we just closed our first property out there. So we're in San Antonio, we're in Nashville, because for cash flow, this is not the best area.
Right.
Because all the cap rates are compressed.
Yeah.
So yeah, I go.
So maybe what we could do, like, maybe I could invest where, you know, you give me some insight on places to invest. Mm-hmm. We go, and that's part of the collab. Like, we go, shout out to Andy, dude, he's the reason why we did this, blah, 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 blah.
And we fly out there and film it.
Yeah.
And to get in those streets is really cool, because you're going to be blown away, because you're going to be like, that 28-unit building is $400,000.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like, yeah, man, and you can finance it. You got like 60 grand laying around, you can buy it.
That's what I'd like to do.
And it's going to spit you out $4K a month.
Yeah, that's what I'd like to do. And then I could really, I think that's where we can do some pretty cool collaboration. Because I would like to find somebody that I could connect my sphere of influence with, like, this is the dude who's helping me, this is what we did.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Today we have Kevion Stirdivant in the house. That's literally the third time. I didn't want to blow it. I was going to let my man do it. I don't want to butcher his name. This guy has created a legacy for himself and for his family. His backstory is amazing. We're going to get into that, and how our backstories have kind of had a similar path. But I don't want to go too far into where we're at now. We're going to start in the past a little bit, work into the present, and then talk about this legacy into the future.
I was born in Oakland, 1982.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you came to SoCal?
Yeah, I think my dad was really wanted to move up to the Bay to kind of get out of what he was into.
Sure.
But you know, the game pulled him back to East Los Angeles.
Yep.
And so, yeah, I lived all over the place, though, throughout, you know, the Bay Area to all over SoCal, from LA to the Inland Empire. Moved back to LA. Yeah, lived everywhere. Yep. Ohio, Albuquerque, Arizona.
Just cruising, just trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Nice. And then at what point did you kind of feel you were maybe a little different? Maybe you had like an entrepreneurial, you know, kind of vibe about you, or was it more of just like a circumstance of like, I got to hustle? Or is the hustle DNA kind of built into you from a family member?
I think probably at a very early age, like, I could tell that what my parents were up to, they did their best. Even though we lived in East Los Angeles, they did their best to send me to like a nicer school. So I went to a place called Westminster Academy in Eagle Rock, only up to like second grade. But I would always be missing school, because my dad would come home from these few-week trips and literally like throw a briefcase on the bed with like hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Nice.
And so, and then we'd leave, we'd go on these trips, and I mean, my parents would throw these crazy penthouse parties, and I just knew like something like, this is probably not what my friends at school are doing,
Right.
you know? And I think that natural hustle DNA I acquired. I remember one of my first kind of experiences in sales. I was probably 5, and my grandfather lived in Yucaipa, and there was a bunch of mistletoe. We went up to Big Bear. Me and a cousin of mine, we both picked a bunch of this mistletoe, and then we went to a grocery store to sell it. And when we came back, I had like $120, and she had like $30 or something.
Right.
And she's like, "How do you have so much?" And I was like, "Well, I sold mine for like $10 each. How much did you sell yours for?" She's like, "Well, I only sold mine for
$1 or $2."
You know,
Yeah, no, I get it.
And so that kind of natural knack to create something out of nothing, I think, probably came from my dad.
Man, I had that same vibe. There was so many different sports teams I was on, and we had to sell like chocolate bars, and you had to sell your box, and that was it. Well, I wanted to sell all of the boxes. I wanted to say it all to everybody.
Yeah.
And I think it's that thing you kind of get as a kid where you're so naive that if it works once, you'll just keep going.
Right.
And you just like exactly like you did. You went and picked mistletoe, and that hustle is still alive today because every time like I'm at Trader Joe's or Whole Foods, there's some kid out there with like doing something, selling that stuff.
And I think skateboarding and hip hop only multiplied that like crazy.
That whole industry was based on that hustle.
Because it was about like, at least in the mid 90s, early 90s, it was so much about the craft and the come up.
Yep.
So, you know, if you listen to hip hop, then you have a mix of, okay, are you a graffiti writer? Are you a b-boy? Are you a rapper? You know, for us, it was skateboarding. Or you DJ. And it was this energy of like, I need to come up. Like, it was about the come up.
Yep.
And so skateboarding and listening to hip hop really taught me that whatever you do, like, it's not so much about the end game of it as it is about having skills.
And it's the culture of the come up. It's the culture of the skill. And it's that like rite of passage.
Yeah.
And you get some incredible mentors.
Well, yeah, because you could sell out. You know?
A lot.
Yeah, you could sell out, or you can sell out, or you can front. Yep. So like in skateboarding, if you're fronting, it was easy to know. In hip hop, if you're fronting, it's very easy to know.
That's right.
These days, you don't know who's fronting. Everybody clearly, if you're in real estate, clearly you're a top producing agent. Dude. Every single realtor looks like a top producing agent. They have a nice car. They're constantly posting about these crazy homes. Well, the MLS says a completely different story.
And so do the stats across the country that I look at too.
So, you know, but for me, I really was taught that it's about having skills. Yeah. And
it was sales skills for you, which you really started to nurture. And then maybe fast forward a little bit, is that those sales skills, which I'm a firm believer, if you're born with them, is such a gift, such a blessing. I've been put in so many different industries, and I'm just like, you give me 6 months, it's over.
Absolutely.
Over with.
Yeah, without a doubt. And it's a lot of freedom to know that.
Man.
You know, like, I know without a shadow of a doubt that you can drop my family and I anywhere where people speak English, and within 6 months, I'll have us up and running, you know?
Dude, I always get goosebumps because I literally feel that all the way into my core. I'm like, take it all, I'll get it back. Take it all, I'll get it back because I've done it.
Yeah.
Over and over.
It's a good feeling.
Yeah, it's rad.
And it's something that I actually encourage people to. I don't encourage people to go screw up.
Yeah.
It's just that I've screwed up so much. Like, I've been through the fire. You know, I know what it feels like 3 times now as a father to have to go and ask my mom, asked my stepdad if I can crash on the couch.
Yep.
And the last time it happened was 2011. It was the end of the recession. I had nothing to my name. My best friend had passed away in Memorial Day. My dad was on the verge of dying. I could not do what my skills weren't enough. So, because you can have the ability to sell, but people can read your energy.
100%.
And my energy in 2011 was so dark. It was so depressed. I could not close a deal from Memorial Day to December 2011 in the MLS. You won't see a thing from me.
You probably reeked of just desperation.
Yeah. I don't even know it was desperation. I was just sad.
Just sad, man. Yeah.
You know?
Like, it's really hard to do anything when you're depressed. The greatest, like, whipsaws of my career like to this day are on like the tail end of those parts of anxiety and depression where I get in my head. I'm just trying to figure something out. It happened to me in December of this past December.
Right.
Nobody would have known I was in this funk and like really doubting myself.
Yeah.
And it was crazy because just working through that was just like, it's still in there. It's always going to be there.
Yeah, man. I go through it all the time.
Me too.
All the time. Like where I'm like, shit, do I still have it?
Totally.
The question is like, do I still have it? And where that comes from is usually a factor of I'm not doing work. I'm not doing work.
And you know better, and it irritates
and I know
the shit out of
better.
you.
And so what happens is when you're not doing work, I'm standing around like, do I still have it? Do I still have it? Well, you're not going to know, dude, unless you go and do work. And the challenge is when you run a big business, you get suddenly pulled in these different directions where it's not necessarily income producing activities. And now all of a sudden I'm like, okay, what the hell is going on? You know,
I would have never thought in a million years I was going to launch this real estate branding thing out of fear because I had 12 investors and my audience has heard the story a million times, but I didn't have a website, was crushing it. No one knew.
Yeah.
And the fear of this machine I saw around me in social media and branding and marketing that I didn't really know that well. I always like subbed out the marketing for the real estate. And it scared me to the point where I'm like, I need like a website, I need a brand, I need a launch. And then that turned into this huge snowstorm of YouTube, and we have an unbelievable YouTube channel, and then the podcast, and then that birthed a media company.
Yeah.
Dude, if you'd have told me 5 years ago I was going to run a very successful media company out of Los Angeles, I'd have told you you're out of your mind. I don't know anything about it.
Well, that's what's beautiful about the breakdown.
Yep.
The breakdown always creates the pathway for the breakthrough, but you have to have that ability to keep looking and keep seeing it, because when you're in the middle of that storm, like you're like, how the do I get out of this? And I just do my best to encourage people to keep it really real. Like when you're in a funk, it's totally normal. We all go through it, but talk to somebody, you know, call somebody that can give you some real insight.
That's why mentorship, man, is so important.
Huge. It's huge. And for me, a lot of times it's my wife. For other times it might be my mentor, Thatch. And then other times it could be as simple as FaceTiming my month and a half year old to just recognize like when you're in the funk and know that you're not magically going to get out of that thing. Step one is you have to recognize like, oh shit,
surrender.
I'm in a funk.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know what it is. Let me do something to work through it. Yeah.
And it's the tools that you have to possess. And I was listening to, it was an interview and I forget who it was with you, and you were kind of breaking down like, you're like, look, I went through this whole thing with Tony Robbins and I walked through the firewalk and I did Landmark. Like, dude, you've been in like the self-growth game forever. I'm addicted to self-growth and expansion for myself.
Right.
And leading by example in that space. Like, I love literally introducing myself to a new version of myself every 90 days. It's so crucial to my growth.
Yeah.
I'll get stuck because things are too good for too long. I get depressed.
Yeah. Oh,
it's
for
bizarre.
Sure. For sure. Yeah. My relapse came right after the first year I made $1 million. You know, I had everything that I thought that's like the whole goal. You're a real estate agent. Okay. Make $1 million a year. You know, and it really only took me 4 years. 2011, I made $60K and 2015, I made 1.1. And I bought my dream home, bought my mentor's car from him, shipped it down from Seattle, saw it roll off in front of my house. You know, I spoke at Keller Williams mega camp thing in front of 10,000 people. KASE is #1, blah, blah, blah. And then the big thing was taking my family to the Philippines. I wanted to take them on this crazy trip. And there was this place off of this island where there's a private island that I had on my vision board, except now it's December and I'm actually there in 2015. And that photo that I'm looking at that was on my vision board is now in real life with Azella, Kaizen, Eli, and my wife. And for some reason, instead of like joy, I didn't know what it was. I felt like super empty.
Because you got there.
I've been sober for 6-7 months. I woke up very early that next morning and just like pounded a beer, didn't tell anybody. And it was the weirdest thing. And when I got home, I started kind of dabbling with different things.
I get it, man.
And then that following April, it went to a point where one night, April 29th, I mean, it could have all been a wrap.
Of course.
And I woke up from that, thank God, and really just had an honest conversation with myself and God and my wife of what was missing for me. And I always go back to the 7 equities. I got to that mill. I got to the KASE being number 1, blah, 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 with my mind, body. Let me skip spirit, family, friends, business, money. And I had to really look like that. Those first 3 equities, your mindset, your health, and your spirituality, I completely skipped spirituality.
Dude, it's the foundation, brother.
I skipped it.
I couldn't, like, I tried a couple times and was in the exact same boat you were. When I just let that be the pillar, it all else worked. Because I had to have blind faith that what I was doing was correct. And that spiritual part was the part that I had punted for most of my life.
Right.
And then I really locked into it. And I got all these tattoos with Ganesh and Ohms and like, awesome. Because I got super into yoga and I saw these tattoos on my body and I fell into that space. And like, I mean, it's such a big part of who I am.
Awesome.
And the meditation part severely changed the game for me.
Yeah, that's cool.
Like forever. And then my kids do it. I got 2 little boys, 3 and 5.
That's awesome.
I have videos of them that are so priceless. One of them is holding sage. The other one is holding burning Palo Santo in their pajamas. And I'm like, you guys are so far ahead of the game.
You guys need to do the family Burning Man trip.
Oh, yeah. Well, my wife would kind of like it. She's more of like hardcore Italian lady.
Yeah.
She might freak out at Burning Man. Love my wife to death, but
awesome.
that's my jam.
Yeah.
She might be like, you're out of your mind, but she already kind of knows that.
Yeah, for me, I had to like get all the things of the world that I thought would make me happy and fulfilled, and then risk all of it to really get the value of what that spiritual connection is for me. And it kind of showed me like, all right, all this shit that I have, the status, the accolades, the house, even a strong, deep connection with my family, without that spiritual connection for me, which is my relationship with God, none of this is worth it. And so that really sparked a journey through getting to know him, reading the word more, having a better understanding. And like, I haven't figured any of it out. You know, I still have doubts of like, okay, you know, and I'll ask my buddy Richard Mulder these random questions because he's just somebody that I could ask random questions to. Like, all right, dog. Like, so where do dinosaurs play in the whole role of the Bible?
Legitimate question. And that's the thing is I've studied a lot of different religions and I take the pieces that I feel fit into my life and I apply them. The ones that don't, I don't. Like, I don't get caught up in all the other dogmas and all the other stuff. I'm just like, this resonates with me. I'm sticking with this. This works. That's it. Yeah. I try to keep it pretty simple because I'll fuck it up.
It's got to be something, though.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, you just have to know that your soul, that spirituality, figure it out. Spend time in it. I think at the end of the day, it's about a relationship, and it's about relationship with yourself and your creator. So if you're atheist and you believe that you are the creator of everything from a speck of dust or whatever, well, you still have some spirituality, and that's simply being connected with your inner self.
And that's a fun argument to have, my friend. It's fun to talk to people like, I don't believe in anything. I'm like, okay, cool.
I can't even argue. Like, whatever. Spirituality is something for everybody.
Yep.
For me personally, it's my relationship with God.
Yeah.
You know, and the only way that relationship is developed, just like any relationship, is through time.
The reps, yeah.
You know, so through recognizing that in 2016, it definitely shook me up a lot to say, you know what, I could get all this stuff. None of it is worth it if I don't really have that connection with myself and God.
And that was the part that you're missing because you've had the shiny stuff and you made the money and then you did it. And then you had a child, which, I mean, shifts most people's whole world. Like, you're like, nothing's going to be the same.
Yeah.
And you go all in, like, I'm building this legacy and I'm creating. But in that process of being a dad and a husband, it's gnarly. Like,
well, all of that is really outside of me. So
That's right.
My wife, my kids, That's equity number 4.
Mm-hmm.
That's equity 4.
4, bro. I know. I get it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And everybody's a family first, family first. Okay, so if you are doing nothing but pouring into your family,
you will have resentments that eat into the center of the earth.
You got to be selfish, you know? And thank God that my wife is, number one, my wife's cool with me doing the things that I need to do to get it going every single day. But at the same time, I'm selfish with my own time, and I sacrifice sleep. So I get up at 4:47 to do my mindset, my physical, my spiritual practices. You know, and I think it's very important to know that, like, your whole day, your whole work, your career, it's gonna, to do extraordinary things. I think you have to have that willingness to serve and create something for the world.
100%. It's a huge reason why you're sitting here, man, and a huge reason why we're putting this thing out. We're in 160 something countries because we believe in this thing so much. And like, you're bringing so much value to this audience. They're going to hear your story because it's similar to a lot of other people's stories. Like, when you're a high level producer, you have to be really wildly self-aware, and you have to have a partner that understands that. Like, you wouldn't have been able to build out KASE to what it is if they weren't in that order, and if you didn't go through what you went through to get to that point. That they're all really cool pieces of the puzzle.
Yeah, for sure.
And to be able to understand that about you, in my experience, it's been really easy to shift out of those things quicker as I've gotten older.
Right.
Because I see them like legitimate stop signs. So when you really felt like the business and the company and the brand was really going, was that kind of around like 2016, and you had that like, okay, we're pretty well known here, and we're established, and we're building some big shit, and because like you guys were top 100 team for
2015 was our first full year as a team, and we closed 104 million. So we we were number one in our office and blah blah blah. And the very next year, 2016, we closed 189 million, something like that. Awesome. And then we hit Wall Street Journal, blah blah blah. That was around the time where I was like, man, this is becoming actually a thing, you know. But a lot of things were also breaking down also in 2016. Because I got really into KW's expansion model. And, you know, that's why KW is the largest real estate company and blah, blah, blah. But I think the vision of how they've molded their brand, a lot of things didn't really resonate with my personal goals.
Of course.
But I got caught up in the beast of it all. And before you know it, we had downtown LA, Beverly Hills, Long Beach, Newport, 65 agents. And as great as that sounds, the reality is when you look at those 65 agents, and through the whole time of, let's say, 18-month period, over 100 agents came through KASE. Right now, we're about 25 strong. So that means 75 agents aren't with KASE anymore. When you look at those 75 agents, 65 of those agents aren't even in the business anymore. It's
85. What is like 84% failure rate or something?
Dude.
It's no, I get it.
And here's what's super crazy. You take the 10 who are still in it, and a lot of them are still buddies with me. The other ones just kind of sent me a text and said, "Hey, thanks for teaching me how to make money the rest of my life."
Right.
I'm out. But if you can take the 10 who are still in it, then you take my top 3 guys at KASE. Our top 3 guys at KASE are doing more than that whole group put together because they stuck with it.
And you poured into them.
Yeah. And we're still all pushing themselves. Those other guys, they're like the top group in their zone of like however many people, where at our space, it's like, dude, we're all looking at each other every day like, we suck.
Yeah, let's go to the next zone. And those are the kind of people that you have to get around. And what people miss in the very beginning is they'll substitute money for that experience. Yeah. Where if I'm telling you, for all my new or medium leveled real estate agents out there, if you really want to take your game to the next level, get around people that are hungry like that and that are willing to pour into you what they've spent 10, 20 years learning. Because it's infectious, man. If you get around those people, within 12 months, those people are acting, talking, and making more money. Just different.
And the challenge for us is I brought on so many new agents. And so these agents didn't really realize, like,
what they had until they sent me that text message, until they went out into the real world. And, you know, it's like they had no idea that I actually created KASE from a place of like, what would I want in a dream real estate company? And then you bring on these newbies, and all of a sudden they think this is what it's like everywhere.
And it's not.
No.
And then you go to like a Coldwell Banker, not to knock them, but like, and even at, look, I love Keller Williams. They actually, they approached me to run like 2 of their branches, and I was like, I just wasn't lining up. Very similar to you. I like to mentor people, and I like to grow people, and not just like make you more money, like make you a better person, make you healthy, you know, and go through all those different processes as you grow and expand as just a human. And so it just wasn't quite really working out. But like those big box agencies, I think, are a little broken. And like those systems that have worked for so long aren't really working anymore. You come along and go light years ahead. Your timing in the market for what you're trying to scale is magic, and the luxury market starts to catch fire, and you built, and then you built, and then you built quickly, like most people do, because you're like, I got 100 agents now, and you start doing the math, and you're like, wait a minute, these 7 I'm putting all my time into are crushing these people.
Yeah.
And then you realize smaller is better. It happened to us with a media company.
Yeah, dude, 50% of the team, you know, the volume that we did last year was done by 2 people.
Yep.
And I would love to see everybody within our group that I have now do what our top 2 people are doing. But what I've realized is that's not their goal. And that's okay.
Yep.
Now we do have a dynamic where everybody within our crew now, they are producing. Maybe they're not going to become 50 mil producers, but they're at least in a space where they're doing what feels right, and they're doing what feels right for them, and they're progressing at a level that's good for them. Whereas so many other people, they just simply were not willing to do the work. Dude.
And it's a ton. Everybody's like, I'm going to get my license, and then I'm going to have a Lambo in 24 months. Like, settle down.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's like winning the lottery.
Yeah.
But once you get those fundamentals down from somebody like you that can teach them the right way, you can make money for the rest of your life. And that's what we were talking about earlier. You can drop me anywhere. It might not be real estate, but like the skill set I have, you can't take it from me. It's upstairs.
Absolutely, man. And I think it's super rare to find people who are like, I'm going to show you exactly what to do to get out there and go in business now. You know, and I think most of the coaches that people have, they're not, maybe it's something over the phone, or maybe they sold real estate in the 70s. But as far as teaching somebody, here's how you tap into the luxury market tonight. Whether you're in Beverly Hills or Dallas, Texas, or Newport Beach, I have, without a doubt, in my opinion, the best, fastest, most effective model to teach a brand new agent. Here's how you get a $5 million listing tonight.
Dude, I've got people I need to send to you because I believe in what you're doing. I love the mid-century space, and then I also love everything that's in between that. But when you get a $5 million listing and close it, I don't like that. Those are life-changing numbers. When you get a check that big hits your account, because I remember what happened to me, and I was just like, this is pretty awesome. It was a building, and it was a weird transition for me because I had a lot of friends crushing the real estate space in the luxury, and I was just like doing 4s and 8s and doing some other stuff over here, and I was dealing with like very different walks of life. And I found it easier to deal with these folks that were a little more blue collarish, a little more gritty, but the numbers were still the same. But this luxury space, I have a huge passion for. We have a lot of teams that we actually do their branding that most people don't know we're doing it all for them. Cool. And I just like the space. It's fun.
Well, it's like skateboarding, right? It's like you get high. It was fun to see my friends elevate and do crazier tricks. Of
course.
It's fun for me to elevate and do crazier tricks.
For sure.
You know, you want to see like, okay, you can kickflip 2 stairs. That's awesome. But when your friend kickflipped 12 stairs, it was like, what?
Right to rail.
and you know, like, to me, that was something of teaching a newbie to go out and kill it and get a $5 million listing or $10 million listing, or the highest, we had a brand new agent list a $15 million listing, literally less than a couple years in the game. Man, it's just so fun. Like, there's a kid named Dakota who
He joined me as like an intern a few years back, and then he got his license. He became my assistant. He rocked with me as my assistant for a year.
That's huge.
He became an agent, and he did like okay his first year, but then his second year as an agent, just bam, went and backhanded the game. If you look up Huntington Harbor, it's heavily dominated by like one dude. Dakota went in there.
I know the dude. I know Huntington Harbor really well. Yeah.
He listed and sold the highest priced property in the whole entire Huntington Harbor that year.
That's awesome.
And then he did it again to do 2 $5 million sales in that pocket that's so heavily dominated. To me, that was one of the coolest things I had seen.
Well, it speaks to your mentorship.
21, 22.
Like, that's life-changing numbers. Sick. And then you have to really get their heads around what to do with it. Like a big thing that we do here is I'm like, you're not prepared to make $50,000 a month. Right. You're not there yet. You'll end up in a bad spot. Like, what are you talking about? Trust me.
No, without a doubt. I've seen that, you know, with this kid in particular. Not a kid, he's 22, 23 now. But, you know, for him, I've seen him maintain his humility through it all and maintain his focus, which is awesome. He has a brother that's like, you know, not disabled, but, you know, that needs certain additional help.
Right. So the special needs.
Yeah. And he has a big calling to like help and do more work there. But vice versa. I remember when we sold our first 11.3, I had a partner with that deal who was some random kid who just happened to set the appointment. Of course, we do all the work. When he gets that check, literally 2 weeks before he even got the check, the dude disappeared. I've not seen the dude since we closed that deal. Literally off the face of the earth.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's how this game works sometimes, and it's always fascinated me how you can just do that.
Well, I think when you reach a certain level, it can be scary.
Of course.
You can actually fall back.
Well, you self-sabotage because, like, it's very easy to have these shiny things, and then you're afraid to doing the work to get to the next level to make that become the new basement. And now where's the new ceiling?
You know what I think it also is, too, is when it comes too easy. When it comes to you too easy, which I know for a lot of agents on our team, we made it kind of easy. All they had to do was set the appointment, and we went in there and did the whole deal.
Closed.
So then they think, I think this is all it is. When it comes too easy to you, whether you actually got it with a model like ours or whether your parents handed it to you, it's kind of easy to let that thing go also because you didn't fight for it. For me, I fought for this thing.
And you fought and you built, and that's a perfect segue to the next question so we can kind of wrap up the show because we're on a time crunch. Where do you see KASE in the next 3 years? And I really want your opinion on the real estate market because I talk in great depths about this across the globe with people. Where do you see, and we'll just keep it here because we're both hyper localized here right now. Where do you see the Southern California real estate market going as a whole?
Yeah. So KASE, first of all, in the next 3 years, we'll hit $5 billion in volume.
Nice.
So we're really inspired about working Orange County, working LA County, luxury, coastal, and focusing on our mid-century modern market.
Nice.
We definitely have a goal to open up a San Diego expansion and to open up a Bay Area expansion. I don't know if that's going to happen by year 3, definitely by year 5.
Okay.
But in terms of production, I see us doing $5 billion a year with a tight-knit group of about 40 to 50 agents.
That's awesome.
So when you think about that kind of dynamic, it is a very high-producing group of agents. There's really only one other brokerage that I've seen kind of do this model. That's really our focus is to really develop and hone and shape the ultimate top producing team group of just legends in the game. Where we're kind of shifting is KASE becoming a group, a coaching division where I could help my buddy Carter really duplicate what I've done with KASE, but now with the Kaufman Group.
And then you can brand that.
And now he can brand
that's
that.
Right.
So really, taking a look at like, how do I help my agents do what I've done? Because to get to 50 mil, 60 mil, okay, that's cool, but that's not the coolest thing that I've done.
Right.
The coolest thing that I've done is really built a brand.
I agree.
So I had an opportunity to work at this other brokerage, but they said I couldn't take KASE. And I was like, I mean, they gave me a crazy, crazy offer.
I get it, man, but I was literally approaching the same thing, and I'm like, sorry.
Yeah, not happening. So I'm inspired about helping my crew really develop their own personal brands and just blowing this thing out of the water.
Well, it's because that separates you, and what so many people miss in this space and all space of marketing and branding, when you create a brand, that brand is going to transcend multiple industries, fashion, clothes, whatever. Like, you can sub that brand now out because it's established.
Right.
You could, I mean, there's 1,000 different ways you can spin it. You can have a San Diego office that's like literally ran by maybe your number 2 here that does some stuff out there, and you're collecting royalties and you're taking back-end commissions and splits like crazy. There's so many ways when you establish brand. What I try to tell people to do is when you get pigeonholed into a big box store and you're just branding their logo like crazy with all your hard work, you're leaving a lot on the table.
Yeah, absolutely. And within KASE, we're rolling out KASE Academy. So KASE Academy is our opportunity to create a really global difference within the real estate industry.
Yep, I agree.
And that's going to be rolling out. It's already active and live now. I mean, I do these just outside in...
I could tell. Yeah. He was on. You guys couldn't see because it wasn't on camera. Homie's on fire out there pacing the parking lot. Like, he's passionate about coaching.
Yeah, I have a 5-person mastermind group that I do that we're working on scaling that and making it bigger. But that's a big part of who KASE is, well, how do we collaborate and how do we make a difference within the real estate industry? And there's only so much we can do as agents. So we're expanding KASE Academy so that we can coach agents globally.
And that's literally what we're starting to roll out. And I was just telling your guy, it's called Collab. Yeah. That's our thing. It's called Collab Real Estate Group, because like we literally collab with the KASE group. We collab with people, all these other teams, to collaborate, to help educate them, to have multiple conversations with their clients. Especially in your space, most people that have a 5, 6, 10, 15, $17 million home might own some multifamily real estate as well, or might be very interested in having that conversation. Yeah. When you have that in your wheelhouse to have that conversation with that high net worth individual, you become a much bigger, more valuable agent. Yeah. And we're talking a lot about that because so many agents, one, they make all this money in commission. They never buy a duplex, triplex, fourplex, never really invest in their own wealth because they're so busy grinding out the day-to-day.
So busy looking awesome.
Right. Fuck, man, don't even get me started. I get it. That's what this book is literally about, is this book. It's free on my website, and it's like, it's the blueprint on how as an agent you get first look.
Yeah.
You can cherry pick these deals for your family. Awesome. So we're trying to work with stuff like that because I'm all about the education part.
But you know what's awesome, like with Collab and with what we're doing with KASE Academy, is there's only a small group of people who really are within our industry. There's 1.2 million agents in America who really have that right energy.
There's like 10,000 tops,
dude, at the most. Right. And so I'm looking to really connect with those groups who they want to share information. I don't view like a Tim Smith or a John Kane or those guys really as competition.
Me either.
I want to do business with them, and I'm cool with them, and they're cool with me. Whereas every now and then, like I was telling you before, I'll have some random dude just take shots at me, and it was like, it's like, dude, instead of asking me why I'm going out and prospecting, you're the one who had the worst year of all time. You should actually hit me up and see how you can adopt some of these models.
Dude, that's the way I've always been, man. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna get the guy on the phone and be like, hey,
let me help you.
Here's what I'm thinking. Let's like help each other make this thing happen. I'm all about like sharing it, because this industry for so long has been so cutthroat. Like, stay out of my farm, stay out of my zip code. Like, get out of here.
So funny.
There's so much.
So funny.
It is.
I love that.
Well, this has been awesome, man, and I'm sure we can sit down again. Where can everybody find you, and where can everybody find you and follow you guys? Got to follow this guy's brand. I'm sure you guys have seen his logo out there. If you haven't, you're probably on his newsletter. You're probably on his email list. Where can they find you?
My Insta is definitely one of the best places. That's where I'm posting and coaching people 24/7 from what I do from the moment I wake up.
Nice.
Which is Kevion at Kevion. You can follow at KASE Real Estate with a K. You can follow our personal development coaching company, Project Mindset 47.
I like it.
You can send our 24-hour transaction escrow lead hotline a text anytime, which is 949-545-8588. And if you're an agent that's interested in connecting with us, you want to send an email to j@kaserealestate.com.
And you guys definitely should. This guy's the real deal. And he's talking about mentorship from 20 years of experience, going through it himself, investing time, tons of money in himself to get him and his family to a place to then give back. And so that's where we really share the same kind of dream and goal and mission, is to just really disrupt this industry and what it looks like. Like, you can wear Vans to a listing appointment.
Yeah. Well, I'm wearing Vans to a $10 million listing appointment. I'm wearing pink Vans to a $10 million listing appointment later today.
But you should. Like, that's the difference.
If it's authentic to you, I think that's the difference between you and I and other coaches. Like, we're in this.
That's right.
People like agents like coaching with me who want to get in the luxury market because they know I'm going up to bat tonight, and I might screw up tonight. I might get the ink tonight. I don't know, but the point is, I'm in the game with everybody. You're investing with everybody. So I really recommend people to be conscious and be aware of who they're getting information from. Because there's a lot of fraudulent info out there from people who are just talking about
most of it. Especially with social media now on Instagram. It's like a poser festival going on out there. Do you guys have a podcast?
We do.
You do have a podcast, okay. Project Mindset, that's right, okay.
Oh, and for your real estate people. We just dropped episode number 1 of World's Greatest Agent. And holy crap, dude. Listen to that. It's with my dude, James Harris. I'm interviewing only the most legendary agents of all time. And the first one, James Harris, absolutely crushed it. So that's at World's Greatest Agent. Look it up on iTunes.
Go check out that podcast where all you people nowadays getting into this game have such an advantage. Like, there wasn't podcasts I could just go listen to all day in the car, driving, looking at real estate. Do you know how far ahead of the game you can get by podcast, consumption? So I'm not going to keep dragging this thing on. My man, thank you so much for coming in. This is going to be out everywhere. It's going to be on YouTube. It's going to be on Apple TV. It's going to be on Amazon Fire Stick, Roku. When this thing goes live, everybody will be tagged in it. We will see you guys next time.
Ooh.